And I swoop in. Welcome in the house. How's everyone doing? Let's talk about some procrastination issues and a tad bit of fear. As you can see, I'm blocking up on a lot of projects, and that is a personal issue. There's consequences, there's things I can notice, yet the one thing that I kept pushing back and never really got at first was basically finding strategies and laying down a certain amount of strategies to get shit done. Not a single one, not two, not three, but a series of strategies to get things done. Now, what I'm obviously talking about are projects like the Pad of Peace or my Extra Stage comic book remake. Mostly because every time I keep getting that little block when it comes to financial urgency, that always gets to be a priority. Yet the issue that I personally didn't take into account was just laying down at least 20 solutions to get rid of that urgency and finally get time to work on my own things. Well, not simply that, but basically having a better balance of time. So let's look at it in a legit way. I keep looking at the task as big or bigger than it really is. That is one issue. That creates a sort of mental block. Why? Because the task obviously looks big, so why should I, why should I consider taking that amount of time while there's urgency on the side? The problem with that way of thinking is urgency is always going to get there until I kill, crush, and destroy it with a even better strategy. Now, what happens there is basically, why aren't I properly managing in that sense? Why am I not looking at the task in a way where it's small increments that I can lay out over a week, over a month, and get it done? And this is where strategizing kind of comes into play. Now, especially when it comes to that task, I should technically just lay it down and look at it such as game recording. To get a full episode, to get like a small little 4-minute or 5-minute increment, maybe up to 10 minutes, you gotta be recording of the game, gotta be recording of the lines, gotta be scripting, of course, that's possibly way before scripting, then recording the dialogue, then doing the images, and then setting it all up in editing. Of course, there's a visualization part pre-hand just to see how crazy I can go with some of the jokes, and I really want to push this further. So that's a time of its own. Yet looking at the big task is the thing where locking up occurs because of this sense of urgency. And of course that comes up with properly pricing, properly charging for my work, and having a nice back and forth on that end, because you can't constantly charge the same thing. Like there's a whole meta game when it comes to being an entrepreneur artist in that sense in contract, but that is a whole different topic that I'll bring in. I'll see if I can bring it up next time. It's quite interesting and it's quite open for discussion, especially if some people have had various amount of experience or different amount of experience and can go with this back and forth. Yet, back on topic. Okay, so to kill, crush, and destroy this kind of procrastination is to remove the fear. And to remove the fear, well, let's say fear, is to start taking baby steps. It's to start going into this combo with light hits instead of heavy hits. In fighting games, you never jump into a combo, or you rarely, 80% of the time, you're not going to jump in with a heavy hit to start a combo. Okay, you might jump in medium. You might jump in hard punch, but now we're talking about, stance, direct. Rarely. 80% of the time, you're going to start with a light hit. And the same thing kind of needs to be done when it's looking at big tasks like that. So instead of going with a fierce kick, I should basically look at it as a small little task that I can accomplish every day. My first light punch, let's say, would be recording the lines, because that is still a task that I need to do. The recording has been done for the gameplay and the script has been done. So now it's just, let's record the light. Next day, light hit, what is it gonna be? Getting the sketches done. Next day, light hit, part, not the full, part of the recording. Always to keep a consistent stream of hits, of jabs, going into that work and not looking at it as a huge, epic boss battle. That comes in at the end of the project when you see everything that you've completed. So, to properly manage that is assigning those jabs every day instead of basically using the entire day for revenue work, because that can also be leveraged throughout the week in a sense by having the same kind of strategy and looking at it as small little increments, small steps, instead of a big huge step that I have to meet or burn in a single day. Jabs every day. And that's basically about it for what I've been noting down and looking at personal evaluation. Another thing that I kind of want to do is having this, the steps or the little jab analogy as a banner that I'm gonna see every day I wake up. So I gotta set time, possibly right after this video, to draw a small little banner and see if I can set it up so that when I wake up, I just, okay, yeah, I gotta start jabbing. I gotta think about long-term goal, and that is another thing. The financial urgency aspect of the current situation constantly puts me in this urgency mode where it's always thinking about trying to get to a certain level of financial security. Yet I've been failing at looking at the long term, especially when it comes to, I don't know, possibly getting a better strategy with my prices, getting a better marketing strategy, and getting a better strategy contacting a various amount of clients. It's a tad bit of things that I'll need to balance out, yet all of that kind of comes with self-awareness and constant revision of the previous weeks, and it's been terribly helping this month. It's really been helping, especially when it comes to this looking at the progress of things that I could have been doing, could have been getting done, yet a bad planning due to a mindset of urgency is just like, okay, well, time to face this and get it done. Yet again, life is a work in progress, constantly trying to beat the previous day, beat the previous week, and keeping that in mind, things are going to get better. Things have to. Why? I'm noting it all down and trying to find alternate strategy. If the jab flash kick doesn't work, then it's going to be jab, medium kick, and then a heavy hit. It's constantly trying various strategy and not trying to fireball all day long, all week long, all year long. You can only get so far, especially in Street Fighter 5. We'll talk about KOF at another point. I'll see when I can pick that up. But that was another thing, preparing streaming session. I want to do some weekend stream to get back into that Street Fighter mind. Mostly to get the same kind of back and forth with the analogies as I've previously spoke. Always trying to move forward. So at this point, I don't care if I lose in Street Fighter 5. I just want to try to get better. And the same thing kind of happens in life. Little steps, noticing when there's failures, just like now, and looking at ways to get a better handle of things. So, thank you for your patience, thank you for your understanding, but at the same time, if you guys have intricate strategies on this subject, on beating procrastination, having strategies to lay out for your own personal projects, or if you know of any speakers on that subject. Right now I'm checking out Brian Tracy, really informative. I was going to use a bad term, but it's like in a good way. I'm like, really informative bastards. This guy has a lot of notion on the discipline aspect, which is another thing that I got to get into this dojo mode. So if you guys have such knowledge, if you guys want to start discussions, hey, feel free. We'll have some back and forth and we'll exchange some techniques. And who knows, I might use it in the next video. So in the meantime, thanks again for your patience, and hey, life is a work in progress. Don't give up, just keep a note of all of it and do it. This is what I gotta do. Later, guys.